Obviously, I'd have to say, apart from my mother, of course, my mother was the most important influence in my life with her godly values, her honesty, decency, and an example. She's the most important example. Of course, my life centers around my ministry and my scientific work. So I would say Reverend L.A. McGee, Lawrence McGee, I mentioned him earlier. I mentioned that Reverend Henderson here in Amherst counseled me when I was feeling the call to go into the ministry, but it was decisive when I went to Kansas City to get counsel from Reverend McGee. So I would put him on the list. Then I would like to say more than three. I would like to repeat Mr. Leo Davis because he taught me music. I would drop out of high school. That's what really kept me in high school was music. And then Dr. Robert Wheeler, who thought had the nerve to think that I should go to college. I had no idea what college was. Or I knew it was for rich people, what at least I thought it was. So they steered me to college, at least provided me a foundation. And then when I got to college, I did mention Dr. Walter Talbot. My junior year, he was willing to undertake to take me under his wing to teach me mathematics. It took me extra year and a half to graduate. I took about 90% of my courses with him. And then I'd like to mention two more people. Once I got to graduate school, I didn't do so well initially because I did fail the exams. The type of training that I got was, as an undergraduate student, was calculating. But then it was more than calculating in mathematics. You have to prove something. You can't just calculate something. So it's a different kind of learning that, in fact, I remember Alan Davenaz, he more or less asked the question, what is the real number? I thought it was a strange question. Didn't we learn that? Didn't we learn what a number was in kindergarten? 1, 2, 3, 4. But he had something much more in mind. It's a equivalence class of Cauchy sequences, whatever that means. We talked about Dedekind cuts. In other words, there's a certain tremendous amount of mathematical rigor. Forget about the intuition, build up the structure from a very rigorous foundation. And that just threw me for a loop. So that's why I want to mention two more names. Once I finally, failed a couple of exams, I dropped out, went back to teaching. I taught at Lincoln University. Then I went back, decided I would still give it another try. I took a course with a man named Alan Nussbaum, and that changed my life. For the first time, I was able to understand. He presented material, he would present the proofs himself. I could understand what he was doing. He would state a result, and then he would prove why I was true. I took the notes. I was meticulous with going over the notes in class. And it just put me on the track to understand that, wait a minute, this is how you learn mathematics. You don't just say that, you don't just make a statement, it has to have a proof attached to it, and a certain amount of rigor. But he was the one that turned my life around mathematically. The last person would be Professor Ray Coonsley, because he became my PhD thesis advisor, even though I more or less chose my own problem to work on. I was under his auspices to get my degree. I think I mainly do ministry and music. excuse me, ministry, music, and mathematics. I really appreciate your time, and I want to thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Your life is fascinating, what you do and what you share with us, the community, and we're really grateful. And I just want to, have something where you're telling us many of the things you've told us and make such a big difference. And we don't even begin to know the half of it. So thank you for everything you do, Reverend Dr. Floyd.